Good morning. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be back in the community again. It's nice to see everyone. I'm just kind of jumping through the pages here to see everybody. Hi. Today we are going. Hi. Hi, Ava. Hi, Jean. Today we're going to be broadcasting from Boca Raton, Florida. It's a beautiful backdrop here. It's a beautiful sunny day. And for those, I kind of heard a little bit that there's some snowstorms going on. So I hope you're enjoying your winter wonderland wherever you are, being safe. Today we're going to talk about a little about Louise Hay. And Louise Hay was a very inspirational, motivational speaker and author. And at the age of 60, the beautiful young age of 60, she founded Hay House Publishing, which is one of our top publishing houses in the country today. So I credit her with so much. Fascinating woman. If you choose to read about her, she's got quite a story. And one of the things that really attracted me to her was her causes of symptoms list. And so it was her belief that so let's just go back, our mind and body connection. So there's from a metaphysical, from a neuroscience perspective, the mind and the body are connected, okay? So what's going on up here can manifest somewhere in your body and tell you something's up, okay? Something's up. So therefore, our emotions, our mental state can definitely affect the health of our physical body. So this is proven through neuroscientists and many other aspects of science itself. So emotion and mind, body, spirit connection, that whole triangle. So one thing that she spoke about a lot was this, the emotions causing certain symptoms throughout your life. And then healing those emotions if you choose to heal them, and how to do that. So that is pretty much her philosophy. Now, what she focused on was two mental patterns. One was anger and one was fear. Okay. And she said, when those are present, then that's kind of opening the doorway to having physical issues. Okay. Now, anger, I have it written down here because there's quite a few ways that anger can show up, as impatience, irritation, frustration, criticism, resentment, jealousy, and bitterness. Okay, so I'll say that again because I see some people writing these down. So impatience, irritation, frustration, anger can show up that way, criticism, either of yourself or another, resentment, jealousy, or bitterness. Now, she felt, and I agree with her, that anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's absolutely a poison, a toxin in our system. When we're carrying any of those emotions, they are toxic to us. Toxic. Okay, so we can open the doorway up to other things manifesting, physical symptoms. Okay, fear can show up as tension, anxiety, nervousness, worry, doubt. Wow, like who doesn't have some of this in their life today? Insecurity, feeling not good enough, and unworthiness. Okay, so those are some of the emotions that can be attached to fear. I look back at this list right now. So anxiety, nervousness, tension, worry, doubt, insecurity, feeling not good enough, or unworthiness. And I see myself written all over that. Okay, every one of them throughout somewhere along my life of my 60 years. She says that so fear must be turned into faith. Okay, you gotta let it go. You got to let it go. So when she's talking about faith, she's like, faith in what? And I've written this down so that I remember to tell you. So she says, faith in life, the process of life, and faith in the fact that the universe is a yes universe. Okay. So anything that we are thinking, the universe has got our back and is going to say yes. Okay. So this is where a big part of her philosophy reigns with her positive affirmations and things along that line is what you're thinking, the universe will bring. Okay. That's it. It's a yes universe. It's here to support us. So what we want to become as much as possible is yes people. Yes, yes, I am healthy. Yes, I am healing. Yes, I am a work in progress. Yes, yes, yes. So um, that's a big part of her philosophy is working with the universe and understanding that when we're giving ourselves positive affirmations, we are really saying to the universe, yes, yes, this is the positive that I want to bring into my life today. Now, there has been times where positive affirmations have worked fabulously for me. If I have a headache, I'm going to work on a positive affirmation. Something that's very just acute that comes up, having a cold, stuffed up, I'm going to speak my voice. I'm going to take my power back because that all resonates with the sinuses in the throat. And I've been able to do positive affirmations in that area. There's other things for the more chronic type conditions that we might encounter, chronic type symptoms. We might want to incorporate the positive affirmations with emotional freedom technique tapping, EMDR, that's the eye movement desensitization reprocessing. That's a big long one. That's why they acronym it. I like Alexander Lloyd's The Healing Code. I find that incredible technique for healing. I'm also a Reiki master, so I work a lot with energy, my own energy. I give myself Reiki, I send it to others. So I also work with shamanic practices as well. And I try to be very present and aware of what I'm doing so that I don't get myself into that anxiety mode. So positive affirmations are fabulous at all times. What I'm saying is that sometimes we can add a little something here or there to make it a little bit more powerful for perhaps some conditions that are a little bit more chronic, okay, to get some relief from chronic conditions. So this list, which you are going to receive in your email today, it's an A to Z list, and you'll be able to just pull it right up on your phone. Ooh, it's 1010. Ooh, that's good. So you'll be able to send it right up on your phone, and you can go through the list. And if you don't see something that you like, a symptom that you have, then she encourages you to like be your own investigator, your own healer in this area. So, like sit with it and say, what emotion might have triggered this feeling in my stomach? What's going on with me right now today that might have triggered that emotion, or an emotion in me and then triggered that symptom in me. So kind of be your own investigator. And you can also ask yourself, if anything, like, oh, I've got this pain here in my spleen. What's up with that? You can ask yourself, again, what's going on in my life right now? Am I worried about something? Am I fearful? Am I angry? The fear and the anger are the two biggies that she focuses on. But then again, there's so many other emotions underneath each one of those. So there's a lot that you could work with there. Now, when you look at the list and you identify something, perhaps it's asthma or something like that. I'm just pulling one out of my head right now. Just asthma or allergies or adrenal problems, okay, something like that. So you're pulling that out. Are you willing to release the thoughts around it? So whatever it says, so let's just take acne, for instance, not accepting the self and dislike of the self. Okay, so you say, okay, you think about it and say, does that resonate with me? What part of that resonates with me? Because in the list, you're going to see a variety of different emotions that might be pertaining. So you take the one that you resonate with the most, okay? And so acne, longing, the not accepting the self, dislike of the self. Okay, so then are you willing to release those thoughts of not liking yourself? And then are you willing to bring in positive affirmations and start loving yourself a little bit? Are you willing to do that? And if so, then that's when then the work begins and the healing begins, because you've identified the emotion behind it. Yeah, you know what? I do realize I'm not liking myself too much. So I am going to start liking myself more, and I'm going to start loving myself more. So that will then help release the acne, and you'll start seeing improvements in that area. Okay, so that's the theory behind the list and Louise Hay's positive affirmations, and this whole process is that way. Now, she also said loving yourself is a huge plus while you're doing any form of healing. Okay, now how can you love yourself? Cease criticism of yourself at all costs. Every time you catch yourself, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. This is so important. We all need to do this. I catch myself every day doing something like that, and I'm just like, no, I'm going to love and accept myself exactly the way I am right now, in this moment, and always. I love and accept myself. So every time you can catch yourself criticizing yourself, stop it. The next one is to praise yourself as well. So there's a method out there. I don't know the woman that developed it, but it's called the high five effect, I think, or the high five method. And you literally go to the mirror and you give yourself a high five every morning. Way to go. And then you take your hands to your chest. I am loved. I love myself. I am safe. Okay, and what other affirmations you want to bring forward there. But you're giving yourself a high five. You're looking in the mirror. I love you. I love you. There was a point in my life that I was so good at not looking in the mirror that I could put my makeup on to go to my corporate job and do it flawlessly. I never had to look in the mirror. It was something I didn't feel comfortable doing. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was able to put it all on without ever having to look in the mirror. I did not like myself at all. And I realized that obviously in my path of healing. Yeah, I used to do that. Wow, I literally avoided the mirror at all costs. So we want to go to the mirror, give yourself a high five and lots of love. Okay. Now, she says that it might, when you start using this process, if you choose to do this, then it might feel really weird at first, because we basically have a lot of energy built up around that belief. Okay. So, or that emotion, something had created that emotion in the first place. So if we want to release it, we have to understand that there may come a time where we're not feeling really comfortable, because we've been comfortable with that our whole life, or for the last 10 years, or for the last 2 months, or however, whenever we created that emotion. So it's kind of in our DNA or in our nervous system, and it's there. So releasing it may feel a little uncomfortable. So you want to be aware of that and just say, okay, it feels a little weird, but I'm going to do it anyway, and just stick with it. Okay. Stick with your positive affirmations, stick with loving yourself, pulling it around, turning things around, getting out of emotional loops that no longer serve you. Now, Louise deflected from the word disease, because when we say disease, that's characterized as I am claiming that, so to speak. When we say dis-ease, that's more in line with I'm out of ease. My body is out of ease right now. Doesn't mean that I'm claiming anything. I'm not claiming that I have that illness, I guess, or disease. I'm not claiming it. I'm just saying my body is out of balance right now. And so it's called a dis-ease. Okay. So that's just something else she brought up. I'm trying to keep my little notes here so I don't go off topic too much. So she said the first way to look at any physical issue is to look at the mental cause. So you look at the list and see what is true for you. Okay, what is true for you? Do I resonate with this? Do I not? Okay. And if you do not, as I said earlier, then you sit with yourself and just say, you know, what could have created that stomach ache I had this morning? What was going on there? You know, and like just be aware of what emotions might have come up. Then she says you want to repeat to yourself, and this, we'll put this in the email as well. I am willing to release the pattern in my consciousness that created this condition. So again, that's I am willing to release the pattern in my consciousness that created this condition. All right. And I'm going to say that one more time because I see people writing. So I am willing to release the pattern in my consciousness that created this condition. And then what we're going to do is create some affirmations that benefit. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the high five mirror. Yeah. Okay. That's the high five mirror affirmation. Thank you very much. So then we're going to create, after we've decided we're going to release that from our consciousness, then we create some affirmations around it. And we work with those affirmations every time something comes up where we're thinking about that condition. Then we're going to throw the affirmation at it. We're going to just switch the thoughts around, okay? Because those healthy thoughts are what's going out to the universe. The universe is a yes universe. It's bringing it back. So if you want to relieve any symptoms that you have, like let's say we have a backache, okay? So we got a backache going on here. So I'm going to send it out that I feel supported by the universe. I feel supported in love. Everyone around me supports me. Those are all affirmations for the back, because a lot of times the back, any areas of the certain areas of the back, you don't feel supported. So then you would come up with affirmations around that and say, okay, so now I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to say, I am supported. I believe I'm supported. I know I'm supported. And you keep going with those affirmations. And assume that you are healing. Healing is in progress, okay? We are, every single moment of every day, in some form or another, I am healing. I am healing. I am happy, healthy, whole, and complete, and I'm a healing work in progress. Okay, so these are affirmations that you'll pick up on the way. And also, if you take a look at Louise Hay's list of 50 affirmations, which is going to be in the link as well, so you don't need to write this down, but she gives you some good examples of affirmations that you can use, and then you just kind of tailor them to yourself, tailor them to you. Okay, cool. Okay. She also has in her book, I Can Do It. That's a big old list of affirmations. But again, you can access these on Google and also through the link that you're going to receive. Okay. So that's just a little bit on Louise Hay. That's a little bit on the causes and symptoms. And there's quite a few of them listed here in the A to Z. And it's a really good place to begin your healing. It's also a really good place, like let's say you're skeptical, okay? If you're skeptical, it's a good place for you to take a look at symptoms you've had in the past and ones you have now, perhaps, if you have any, and see if there's any patterns. Okay, so it is a self-awareness exercise. So even if you're like skeptical about, yeah, I don't know about the whole universe thing or the positive affirmations, even if you're skeptical about that, you can use this list to identify some patterns that may have been occurring throughout your life that just kept coming through in a physical symptom way. Okay, so, and that's exactly what I did. And one moment, please, I need some water. This is my alternative to plastic bottles, and it's fabulous. And no, it's not whiskey, but it is water. It's great for hiking, though. You can just go, you know, so I carry that with me. Got that from my son for Christmas. Okay, so let's use me as an example here today, all right? So I'm going to go through some of the symptoms that I've had over the course of my life, and let's see if there isn't any similarities or there any continuity there, okay? So, and I wrote them down, starting from A, because it's an A to Z list. First one, addictions, okay? Now, I used to smoke cigarettes and I used to be a heavy drinker. I did not identify with alcoholism, so to speak, but I did find myself drinking a lot more than I think the normal, not normal, there is no normal, the average person would consume in a day. But the cigarettes were definitely something that I can resonate with as an addiction. And that was earlier on in life. So this is running from self, fear, and not knowing how to love yourself. Okay, so that's good point. Next one, my ankle. So I've had some ankle difficulties. That can resonate with feeling stuck, inflexible, guilt about things, okay? And it represents the ability to receive pleasure. Okay, so now we have, let's see, I don't know how to love myself, and I also don't know how to receive love. I don't know how to receive pleasure, okay? And I have guilt. There's guilt out there somewhere. Next one is anxiety, not trusting the flow of life, okay? This is a big one for me, okay? Because anxiety is something that the term anxiety or the feeling of anxiety is something that I have been working with throughout my life, okay? So not trusting the flow of life. Okay, something to think about. Then mid-back pain, guilt again. Guilt shows up again. And stuck in all that stuff back there. So stuck comes up again. So my ankle, stuck. My back, stuck. Okay? And there's also a phrase, get off my back. It's kind of like everybody just leave me the hell alone. So that I totally resonated with that part. Back curvature. Okay, so I had been diagnosed as a child with scoliosis, curvature of the spine. Inability to flow with the support of life. That's interesting, since everything else is not trusting the flow of life, not knowing how to love myself or receive love. Fear and trying to hold on to old ideas, not trusting life. So it's repeated twice, not trusting life. Wow, that came up again. Okay. So and these are at different stages of my life. The curvature was at birth, and then the addiction obviously was later on. Okay. Bedwetting, fear of a parent, usually the father. Okay. I look at that, the whole bedding, I get the fear aspect. I don't feel like I had the fear of one parent in particular. I think I had the fear of my entire family, my entire family unit, and just not having any control. It was a very chaotic environment. I was the youngest of 5, and I don't feel like there was very much peace or flow So trusting the flow, I don't believe that I really had a lot of opportunity to feel what that was like as a child. Low blood pressure. So, you know, my conventional doctors say, Diana, your blood pressure's 90/60. I'm like, I feel fabulous, and I've had that my whole life. All right. That's considered kind of low. All right. Lack of love as a child is low blood pressure. I get that, because not that they didn't love me, they loved me as best they could, but there was a heck of a lot of other children and also a lot of other things going on. I mean, constant movement, constant movement. So did I feel lack of love? Quite possibly. Okay. I didn't realize that's what it was, but now looking back, yeah, possibility. Next one is breast. I think I was in like my early 20s or 30s. There was like a little lump there. It turned out to be benign. And the emotion behind that is refusal to nourish the self, putting everyone else first. Okay, it's almost like mothering everybody else. So I totally could relate to that. And I definitely throughout my life, when I look back, I see myself as the people pleaser, the peacemaker, the person that entertained everybody, because that's how I got acknowledged, was to be a little different than everybody else. So I can totally relate to that. Bursitis. So this is repressed anger. So this is like one area where the anger, like there's a lot of fear in the symptoms I've already spoken about. Not a lot of anger, but the bursitis is repressed anger, wanting to hit someone. And I was diagnosed with that when I was a gymnast in high school. And so I was a pretty good gymnast. I went to states, and I can't remember if I went. Yeah, so I went to the state competition, and so I was pretty good. But I didn't like my coach. She was not somebody that was really supportive of anybody. So it wasn't just directed at me, but I didn't like her. So, and she did do things that kind of made me angry. So I kind of feel like that whole bursitis and the gymnastics and my coach kind of all kind of came together in that symptom, in that time. That's it. I do not carry bursitis. It literally stopped. Okay. So that's like one of those symptoms that if you change the environment, change the people around, it stops. Cholesterol. Fear of accepting joy, clogging the channels of joy. So I've thought about this a lot, and I feel like if you really don't know how to love yourself, and you really don't know how to receive love and what it feels like to be loved, how can you accept joy? Because they kind of flow together. Joy is even maybe on a high, like love and joy kind of roll together in my eyes. Okay, so having that joyfulness. Joy might even be higher up in I don't know. I'd have to think about that a little further. But anyway, cholesterol is fear of accepting joy. So here comes some really good stuff my way, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with that. So I can see why that happened. And depression. So the depression is, according to Louise Hay, anger you feel you don't have the right to have. And I've sat with that quite a bit. And because depression has been something that I have looked at since I was in my early 20s, I think. And it's like, I kind of go back and forth from depression and sadness, depression, sadness, or a melancholy type. And it used to be very strong when I was in my 20s and 30s and 40s. And I couldn't ever really identify what the emotions were, but knowing that there might have been some anger about not feeling like I was even able to express it, like even able to identify it. then that gave me a lot of empowerment to say, okay, now I'm going to sit back and work on identifying this. I want to identify what it is that is causing me to feel this way. Okay. Weight issues. So this is something that started around my 30s, I want to say, and continued gravitating up until 50. So all these symptoms that I'm talking about are me birth to 50, because at 50, I had something very catastrophic, or close to catastrophic, about as close to catastrophic as you can get. And so all these symptoms are kind of leading up to this big 50-year thing. So the weight issues, when I was 50, I was 70 pounds over my targeted weight, or BMI, or whatever I don't know. It's like the average weight of somebody with my height and my body mass and stuff like that. Weight is oversensitivity. That's absolutely me. I am an empath, 100%. Often represents fear and shows a need for protection and self-rejection. Okay, self-rejection. Now, back in 2008, I had something go on with my gallbladder. Okay, no symptoms. All of a sudden, one morning I woke up and I said, should I go to work or should I go to the ER? I mean, it was literally a choice that I actually consciously thought of. Is work more important than me taking care of this? Which tells you right there that I was a people pleaser and did not put myself first. So I went, and there was emergency surgery, and my gallbladder was removed. And lo and behold, this is an anger thing, okay? And it resonates with bitterness. So this was so 13 years ago? So up into, like, if you start looking at all these symptoms that I'm talking about, and then there's a couple more, and then we'll compile them all together. Motion sickness. So when I was a kid, I could not sit in a car. If I was in the back seat, forget about it. Okay, I would throw up. So feeling of being trapped, fear, bondage. Okay, and then we're almost to the end here. Nervousness. That's fear, that's anxiety, not trusting the process of life. Hello, here it comes again. Sciatica has come into my physical symptoms twice in my life and then has left, okay? Fear of money and of the future, okay? For whatever reason, it came up at the time when I was, maybe in between jobs, whatever. And then stomach is my last one, and that's fear of new ideas, trying to hold on to old ones, which resonates back with the back curvature, okay? So if I take all these symptoms that occurred from birth to 50, not trusting the flow of life, big one, fear, okay? And within fear, there was feeling stuck, holding on to old ideas, no joy, not knowing how to love myself, and then guilt. There's a lot of guilt out there. So what happened was at 50, I had experienced a pulmonary embolism, and it was so severe that it was my entire left lung and my left arterial artery. It was about 6 months before the doctors decided that to do surgery, because they tried to minimize the blood clot, which was in my entire left lung, with medication. Didn't work, okay? So I had some very heavy choices to make because it was very risky surgery. So of course they wanted to try to take care of it with medications first. Now, what happened? How did this happen? This pulmonary embolism. How did this happen? You know, what scene created that? Was it the stress of my job? Was it the stress of my responsibilities? Who knows, right? So heart problems, long-standing emotional problems. Okay, so very untapped. I had not tapped into my emotions pretty much most of my life. I had seen psychologists many years to work on that depressive state. However, we never dug down, we never got down to the core of what this might have been about. So heart problems, lack of joy. Oh, lo and behold, hardening of the heart and belief in strain and stress. That's the heart problem. So I wasn't open to new ideas. I had stress of money, fear of future. I didn't trust the process of life, and I lacked joy. The next one would be the lung, because that was the main thing that was affected, the inability to take in life. So if you look back at all the symptoms that I had, yeah, lung is also depression, grief, not feeling worthy of living a full life. Okay, so this is all what happened at the age of 50, the occurrences, breathing problems, fear, not trusting the process of life, getting stuck in childhood, fear of taking life in fully, fear of accepting joy, and circulation, ability to express emotions in a positive way. So you can see that big, almost catastrophic event that happened in my life was kind of showing up throughout my life. Okay, there were things that, and so looking at Louise Hayes's list, I can see now, I can look at it and say, oh, and start having an awareness of why I felt that way throughout my life, start looking more into that, start focusing my journaling more heavily on that. Now, which is some choices that I had to make eventually. But for right now, Ashley, if you have an opportunity to put up the picture, this is a picture of me right after I had the pulmonary embolism. Okay, it was actually, that was my license. Okay, and then after I started doing the healing work, I created myself. I kind of recreated myself, reinvented myself, did a lot of healing. And so if Ashley, if you want to bring them up together so they can look at the comparison. So if you look at the one on, well, I'm not sure if it's on your left, it's on my left, but the one where I'm not looking so good, you can see that even in my eyes, there's very little life there. Okay, and thank you so much for that, Ashley. So the point here, and I wanted to share that with you, is because that picture was taken after I had the embolism, prior to the open heart surgery, and also prior to devastating trauma of losing my 18-year-old son to a motorcycle accident. Thank you, Frida. So thank you for, and I almost cried there for a second, so you helped me regain. So there was a lot of trauma that came after that picture, a humongous, the parents' worst nightmare, of course, that came following that particular picture. And so after Willie crossed over, it took a great deal of grieving and connecting with God for me to get to a place where I was blessed with, gosh, you've got two beautiful children. I have Max and Alexandra. You've got a beautiful life to live, start living it. So that's when I started healing, and I started doing things such as working with positive affirmations. I started connecting on different levels. I started taking Reiki classes. I started journaling. I started speaking. And this is one thing that I can say to all of you today is, if we speak our truth, speak like I'm speaking to you now from my heart, if you speak from your heart to others, they will benefit and you will benefit. So it's like, it's a form of helping others realize that it's safe and that you are in a safe environment here in this community. You can talk to trusted friends, you can talk to trusted families and express yourself. And this is so important because so much of anger and fear gets repressed when we don't speak it. Okay, so it gets stuck in our physical body, and that I know for a fact. So that was very healing to me when I began to take my life back and just say, you know, it's either die or live. And if I'm going to live, I'm going to live the best life I can with the time that I have remaining. So that was the choice that I made. I wanted to be here for my kids. I wanted to be a better version of myself for my kids. And here I am today. So there we have it. Oh, before we open up, I just wanted to put out here that this is the card that came up. You are blessed regardless. It says, every experience enriches us and those around us in some way. Regardless of what we achieve or don't achieve, do or don't do, all is a blessing in one form or another. Nothing is a mistake, for all serves a divine purpose, all is blessed. So whatever you take from this conversation, I guess it's not really a conversation because I was the only one speaking. However, whatever you take from this, it's going to be a blessing. And if you choose to look at her list, if you choose to go even further than Louise Hay's list, and this will also be in your email, this is Michael Lincoln's Messages from the Body. And it is extremely detailed, okay? And talks about a lot of inner child work, talks a lot about ancestry, things that might come through your ancestral line that you can heal. It's fascinating. However, this is a serious healing book. So if you're really serious about it, this is a good book to get, okay? The list that you're getting today is a great starting point. I have so much respect for Louise Hay to take this to a whole nother level. Oh, thank you, Carol. And take this to a whole nother level so that we can bring awareness to ourselves and our own challenges that we've had throughout our experiences based on what symptoms have shown up throughout our life. Okay, so I just wanted to.
And Diana, I mean, you are amazing. So many people, you know, their heart goes out to you and they're so sorry for your loss. And that is something that, and also, I mean, you started a charity after Willie crossed over. You started, you know, where you were giving back and you were helping other families of people, if you want to talk about that for a second, where you would help people, families deal with the grief and deal with, you know, losing a child to, I don't know if it was specific to a motorcycle or a car accident, but right, it was where you would help bring food or start a food meal train or something. And I think that was amazing. And years later, I know you had told a story in a Reiki circle once where you met with the people that were part of that accident that caused the accident. You actually had to find peace to meet with them and sort of forgive them in a sense, right? That was something that was part of your story.
Absolutely.
But, you know, yeah, and a lot of people carry that guilt, the grief, that, you know, they have anger towards, you know, something that caused something so devastating and horrifying. But I definitely, you know, I think it's amazing that you were able to do that and within your journey come to that level to forgive or to at least meet with them, because they were like older, right? They were in their 80s or
they were. He was 82 and he had so it was up on Glades Road, and so my son had the right of way, and it was at an intersection, and he had turned into the intersection, so into Willie's right of way. And there, you know, Willie was doing some speeding, like most people do on Glades Road, and I completely, that's not saying it's okay, Willie. But he was doing some speeding, and then he had the green light, and then the gentleman pulled into Willie's right away, and then there was a collision. And for a long time, you know, there was just a lot of anger that that man was not able to see him. And so it took me a while to really process it. And then I don't know, just one day, one of Willie's friends said, you know, I got a message. Willie wants you to forgive them. So, excuse
Yeah.
me. So, so I started that work. I started working on how to forgive them, and it's such a lovely story. So I can feel my heart just going wonk. So I had to process it a little bit, and after having done so, I realized that they were traumatized too. And when I met with them, the woman that was in the car, the wife, she said that since that day, every day she woke up to that nightmare every single day.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I think it was like maybe, I can't remember how many years. I would have to look in my Facebook memories to actually see how many years after Willie crossed over. It took me to get to that place of forgiveness of these of the Corrals, and but she had it every day, and she told me about that day that I went to see them, and I was like, healing was happening for me, healing was happening for my family, and healing was happening for them. So it's really wonderful. And as far as the charity, I was guided to help other people that had helped me. I mean, and helped my family and my children, and my husband at the time, through such agony that we were experiencing. And the community just reached out and like embraced us. And so I was guided to do that and give back. And I did that for 5 years. And then just before the COVID thing happened, it was that February. So I think COVID happened in March.
Yep.
Yeah. So in February, I was guided to, Diana, you need to go back in. You got more healing going on. You got to go inward. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna cease the charity for now. I can always go back to it, and I'm just gonna go focus in on myself at this time. So that's what I've been doing now for the last 2 years, and just doing that inner work and enjoying my children and enjoying my life and learning how to love myself on a different level. So that's that story. There's quite a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
mean,